we're realizing we were never meant to live like this. On the clock, on a schedule. Our mindset is shifting. Our intuition is being activated. And just breathe. We're opening up to other ways. We are going within for our answers of rest and peace. We are finding joy. So open up and let's revolutionize your mindset.
Welcome to Intuitive Shift Podcast, where we sit down with people who have trusted their intuition and shifted their mindset and chose an empowered path towards self-discovery and soul growth. And I'm so excited and privileged to have Arlyn Ruddy on the show today. She is the founder and owner of Awaken Spanda. She also is an absolute machine on the mic. She has a beautiful voice. She has been internationally traveling, spreading her knowledge of sound and frequency and healing and reaching that next level. I'm so excited. And she's my dear friend and colleague. So thanks for coming, Arlyn.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Yeah, very excited to be here.
I know. I gave you an out to move the date for this show because you just got off the plane from London, experiencing some jet lag for sure. But you have just gone, I've been witnessing it through social media. You have just gone through this whirlwind of a massive shift in your life, and you have embodied trusting and surrender into it.
Yeah, 100%.
Yes, I would love. Can you just take us down that path where it started, where you're at now?
Yeah, I think as you say that, I was thinking, I was like, yeah, it's like one layer after another layer. The next surrender leads to the next big surrender. Yeah, I mean, the beginning 6 years ago really started with Awaken Spanda in general, when I just, trusted what I was, the insight I was getting, the downloads I had received, and it's just like, quit all of this and move into this. You're gonna do sound. And and on top of that, it's like I didn't realize I was gonna be it had to be educational at the same time. I had to really like pioneer it in a lot of ways in the area I'm at in Charleston, where we are. So yeah, it's just one surrender after the other. The more you grow, the more you expand. It's just, it never really ends. It does get a little more exciting, I will say, I think. But yeah, this and recently it's once again just as I entered back into music, because that's a whole thing too. Besides just the sound healing, now I'm doing my artistry again. So I'm as a musician. And so now it's like complete surrender to that and this whole new era in Awaken Spanda, I think.
And you just celebrated a huge birthday.
Yeah, 45.
Just a month ago now. Yes.
45.
45. Oh my goodness, you do not look a day over 30. So
Appreciate that.
clearly doing something right. I mean, when I always say, when somebody is embodying joy and their mission, and I mean, the light comes through their eyes and their skin, and they're joyful, they're youthful through that. And it exudes out of you coming from this space. What the name of your company, Awaken Spanda, just for everyone at home, like, what does that mean for you?
Yeah. So Spanda is a Sanskrit word that means the primordial vibration of the universe and our being. So it's basically like the divine pulse of life. And awaken is obviously we're awakening the pulse of life. So that was actually, again, that was a download that I got when I had a radical Kundalini awakening 6 years ago, spontaneous awakening. And that was when kind of like the months that preceded that, all these things started dropping in, and Spanda, even the word, because I wasn't studying Sanskrit. I didn't I didn't know what any of that meant. But it came to me, and And then I looked it up, and as I'm like digging into it, I was like, oh my God, okay. And it's only over the years made more and more sense just from the lineage it comes from. It's like a tantric lineage. Even the way I teach, it was really mind blowing how the book is really all here. It just unfolds from here, at first, if we allow it. And so it's fascinating.
I love
But that's where it came
it's
from.
yeah, it's so true. Everything, the older you get and the more you trust in your tuition, right? Into this
Mhm.
awakening intuition, you realize that it has to come from within. And
Yeah.
the reason why is because it's all there.
hmm It is every last bit. I mean, even the stuff we're not so aware of, of most of the stuff we're not so aware of. But yeah, tuning in. I was just telling somebody, I think it was yesterday. So yeah, it was yesterday. We were talking about, they were talking to me about they had their first experience with an intuitive doctor. And like basically she did a scan. It was basically like energy work is the way he was describing it. And I just thought to myself, I was like, God, if we just had like a university of intuition, like rather, take everything else out, let's just start fresh. Everybody like learn how to actually dial into the intuition, how we would transform beyond belief, if people could dial into that side of themselves um, before
What
anything.
do what does intuition mean to you when you hear that word being used?
Mm.
What does it mean to you?
Ooh, well, because I think in energetics a lot. So I immediately think energy, and then I think of like the feminine or the feminine essence or the right side of the brain. I think of creativity. I think of spirit. This is the feminine form of God, really. Um, yeah, that's what I think.
I love that. Yeah, no, I love that. There's just all words create, they both create and they hold within them a certain frequency. And just
Yeah.
like you, I mean, you and I align because we do. I mean, our thoughts and emotions are all within sound and frequency. That's just how we resonate.
hmm
And intuition is it's that inner voice. And
Yeah.
intuition to me is always a verb, right? So it's like moving with the inner voice. It's trusting into that inner voice.
Mm.
And I want to bring in the word, even though I don't like it, we're going to discuss it.
Okay.
I'm going to bring in the word fear. How has intuition helped you overcome moments when you have been fearful?
Ooh, I think yeah. I mean, intuition is exactly what helps me, I think, in essence, overcome fear in any sense, or if overcomes even the word, but just to kind of dissolve it out, is remembering. And that's been a practice itself, is really, I think, trusting myself, trusting that first thought or that first feeling I have in my body rather than second guessing it. The second guessing, I think, stems from fear. It's the fear of the unknown. So I think, yeah, just in general, I think intuition,
Yeah.
being able to quickly dial into it and trusting it, it leads to that surrender and dissolving of the fear. Does that make sense? Did that come
Yeah,
out properly?
absolutely, absolutely. I mean, before we jumped on, we were discussing. I had this moment where in front of a huge group of people, and I know that you could
Uh-huh.
do this, Arlyn. um, I had to do something that I've never done before,
Oh yeah.
and um, I was so thankful that I have the trust in my intuition and my own guidance system that I just kind of chuckled inside because, like, yet
Yeah.
again, here we go.
Uh-huh.
Here we go. And knowing that, okay, when that dirty word fear comes in there, lately I've been doing like toot toot, like that's a very Greek thing to do. I think I'm maybe embodying a Greek aspect, but it's like, okay, I'm gonna have to fully surrender into this, and completely trust. I mean, I know like you and I have both said the word trust and surrender so much in the past few minutes, but that's literally what it is. It's just
It's
what it is.
100%. Yeah. And like you were telling me about that experience, and I had a similar one in London recently, but spirit sometimes will take us and thrust us into these situations. Like what, you have a room full of people, there's no backing out. There's no there's no like, oh wait, hold on, y'all. Let me, no, it's go time. And thing is we're never given more than we can handle. Spirit knows that. And so when we can trust, exercise that, that's where we can just go, okay, take a deep breath and let's go. And then the magic happens. That's when it's like, oh, yeah, we got this, some serious activation can happen after that.
Sometimes I wonder if they set that up just so that we can have those moments of like, oh my gosh, I just surprised myself. And
I feel like that's literally, after all the time, I can tell you so many times that I've gone into events where it's like, either it could be just all kinds of different scenarios or things where I'm like, I literally, like, in my body, I can't do this right now. Like, there's no way. Either it could be I'm just feeling physically like I'm just like, oh, like so weighted down. It could be anything. Or I'll be so tired or something. And it's like, sometimes I think even when I'm the most tired, when I'm like, I don't even know how I'm gonna do this, then it's like I'm more open. And it's almost like, so I'm like, does spirit take me to this space to be completely like just out of it, or just take me by surprise, like where, I was given a mic in London recently at a big show with all these people, I mean, really influential people in the hip hop scene. And like in the middle of a mic, the guy's like, "Hey, you rap, right?" He's like, boom, gives me the mic in front of. He's like, "There's no stopping. There's no like, you you don't just go, oh no, sorry, I changed my mind." Like, no, no. It's just like, no, go. Here's the beat. Here's everybody. Boom, and then yeah, that was the experience I had recently, and I'm like, oh, okay, wasn't expecting to do that, but here we are, and we did it, and it was incredible. For me, incredible. For the whole situation, incredible. I wasn't expecting for the stuff to come out that came out, and then it did. So
I mean, and so, and then I get giddy when I hear that story, because when you understand spirit, right? So spirit, again, is just energy, guys. Understanding how many people had to line up in that moment to create that scenario for you to have this massive shift in believing in yourself and just doing it and dropping it. Like you always say, like, I'm going to drop into the pocket, right? Like you just like, you drop into the moment and surrender into it. When you realize, oh my goodness, like this had happened and this had to happen and this had to happen, and it all still came from you. You did all of that.
That's right. Yeah.
And that's still that's another layer of intuition too. So for everyone at home, like understanding nothing happens by accident. Nothing happens without, on some level, your consent.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. As even we're like, oh my God, like freaking out, like can't do this, can't do this. Like, yes, you set this completely up. You 100% got this. And when you give into that and you surrender to it, whoa. Like, whoa. And it doesn't stop. I think the more you like we allow these challenges, they just keep coming, and it's a beautiful thing. It really is an expansive experience.
Yeah.
Growth.
I remember you did. So I would come into that beautiful space y'all are seeing. I mean, you guys in her space with all of her gongs. It's just so magical.
Oh, yeah.
So magical. And so we just did a little beat of like, okay, let's see what comes channeled through with toning. And so you were doing all of your sound equipment, and then I just started channeling out this song. And I think it was later on that night you posted on Instagram.
Oh yeah, I remember. Yeah.
Yes. And I had to deal with all of my collective, like, oh my gosh,
freaking out.
It's out there.
I remember I was like, Abby, it's okay. I was like, I'm not posting this. This is crazy.
But that was
Yeah,
a huge, but I mean, I consented to all of that.
that's right.
I
Yes.
consented to
It was
all.
time. It was time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so I guess the message out of this whole segment, this segue is everything that happens to you, no matter if you're like, why was I put in a position? Oh my gosh, well, like that was so uncomfortable to me.
Yeah.
You agreed to it on some energetic level,
That's
and
right.
that expanded you. And this is another portion of
It's
this
funny.
intuition. This is
Yeah.
the shift. So
Yeah.
take me back, because everyone is saying all of those beautiful gongs,
Mm-hmm.
the gongs. How, and I'm sure in their mind, wait a minute, how does this sound healer who has all of those gorgeous gongs, and yes, y'all, they sound amazing, go to rapping in London? How did that shift happen for you?
Well, I'd started. I used to rap in my 20s, so like, well, no, yeah, 20s and into my 30s, and so then I had kind of took a hiatus for a couple years, just to the rhythm of life. It's just the way life was flowing at that time. I ended up going to some therapy. I was going through some heavy things and started with cognitive therapy. And then I went on this kind of like, I went to Costa Rica. After that, it was kind of like my spiritual journey just really began to come online, or my journey of life, in a deeper aspect. Not that it wasn't deep before, but it was just on a different level, I guess. And so I had put the mic down. I stopped kind of like utilizing that expression for a while. There were times I totally missed it, but it didn't feel right at the time. It just didn't feel like I had a place for it in my life at the time. And then after I had I had a few radical energetic movements, and the last one was like this. It was all Kundalini movements that I was having. Looking back at it now, I realize that. But the really big one happened about 6 years ago. And when that happened, when I was getting those downloads, same time Awaken Spanda came in, Spirit spoke to me, took me back to my music. Actually, I had found like my old stuff, and I started listening to it, and I was realizing how much the words I was speaking, it was like I already knew these things. What the difference was, I hadn't like embodied it yet. Do you know what I mean? I was speaking all these things. They were very powerful, but it was like it had come online. All of a sudden, it was like everything was online. Do you know what I mean? And in that moment, it was like, well, what about this? Like, I want to do this again. And Spirit's like, no. He's like, one day you will marry, because I was already doing the sound healing. I started like really like digging in and learning and investigating all this new stuff. And Spirit was like, no, one day you will marry these two elements. Like that was, it literally heard it like that. Like, you will marry these two elements. And I was like, okay, whatever. Went about my experience in life. And then it was about I want to say almost 2 years ago, I started hanging out with somebody in town here that came into my life, and they were a hip hop artist. And so I started going around the scene here, and as I was like showing up in these spaces, it was like Spirit was just overcame me. It was like, it's time to start writing. I started it was just spoken word stuff, and then it just kind of developed again into writing on beats. And then yeah, next thing you know, I'm making songs with frequencies and all that sort of stuff.
I
So
think I think a lot of people get in this place in their life where they look back, and there's an aspect of it's too late, right?
yeah,
Like, I'm in my
right.
mid 40s, I'm 50, it's too late.
Right. Yeah.
Or oh, well, I did that 20 years ago. Like, how am I gonna bring that back again? Like, I loved it. I loved it, right? I loved 20 years ago, but that was 20 years ago, and I don't think I
Yeah.
can go back there. I mean, and again, I think all of those still like are wrapped around layers of fear. And there's also this layer of time, right? Like,
Hmm.
I've waited too long. It's too late in my life to
Oh
make,
yeah.
and I would just love for you to address those.
Yeah, so that's a big one. And what I realized, sorry, this thing keeps going off. I'm just trying to, so that's a big one and one I love to address because I am 45 and, you know, to me, it's never honestly even been a thought in my mind like that oh, I couldn't do this or I couldn't pursue this. I've had other people bring it into my space and it's helped me go, oh yeah, people think like that still, like, like, okay. But the thing is that because I think I also like use expression. Expression is something it's innately us, like expression, whether it be writing, whether it be art, whether it be anything, dance, that sort of thing. And because I think I work in those elements, like I never think there's anything I can't do. Do you know what I mean? I'm not in that programmed space of thinking, oh, I have to be like this age to do this age to do that. Because I'm like, no, like we can all do this. We all need to be tapping into our inner child. It's healing, the expressive arts are healing. So for me, I just never thought about it. And to be honest, I guess I don't think along the lines of like the program where it's like, yeah, like who's gonna listen to a 45? The thing is that we're actually more seasoned the older we get, like in our experience and our wisdom. So I have some, that's what makes it so different now is I have so much more to say and people, so much more can connect to that now because it's speaking from a place of wisdom. And to be honest, a lot of these celebs and people like in the industry doing music, not all of them are writing their songs, and majority of them are having like older people write their songs. So, when you think about it, it's a lot of that, like, it's like there's a lot of, lies it's just like not inconsistent realities in our, it's like an inversion of
Yeah.
reality. Do you know what I mean?
Oh
And
yeah.
so I think me actually at 45 expressing these like what I have to say and the way I have to say it. And of course it's more mindful, it's more conscious and spiritual. um there's just a certain there's a power that comes with it, and it's the energy. It's not me. I don't sit here and go, "Oh, it's me," it's like it's coming, I'm just a conduit of the energy, and the information, the
Yeah.
coding, yes, um but yeah.
I was really surprised because you brought up celebrity. I was surprised because a lot of people connected with Elvis and his music. He
Hmm.
has never written a single song. He never wrote any of his own music. And so many
Did he
people be like,
not?
"No."
Interesting. I did. Yeah, I think I might have known that. I don't. I just don't. I don't remember. I'm not really studied him much, but
I was
yeah, interesting.
Yeah, I was recently watching a documentary on, I mean, now this documentary didn't focus on Elvis, but it was looking at Nashville and the songwriting industry.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
you are
uh,
correct. There
yeah.
are It's a
Mhm.
rarity now to find a celebrity that writes all of their own music.
Very rare, especially to write, because once you get to that status of like hits, like then you have to match it or go beyond above. You have to be able to hit a certain, and that's all frequency. That's all like that's really like so much more to that than just writing a song. It's like, so yeah, I mean,
You
a
you
lot
can
of
feel
these,
it. You can
yeah,
feel it when you're listening to a song. You can feel the ones that have been clearly channeled
yeah,
through
yeah,
versus the ones that have been produced. At least
yeah.
I can feel the difference in it because again, it's that
There's
heart.
a different, there's like an authenticity. It's like there is a feeling about it. I 100% agree with you there. Like you know when something's authentic to you and when it just feels like, because it won't resonate. It just won't resonate. Like, and that may be just not all like might be artificially sourced, right? It could be like somebody, doing a song that, this like person wrote that it's just not lining up. Do you know? Um, yeah, could just be the message in general. But yeah, I don't know. I just think there's nothing should stop you. Went back to that 45 thing. Like it's so important for people. It's all gonna be from your mental space because it's really like it's a programming that we've been taught that it's like you're dispensable at like a certain age. Like nobody wants to hear from you, especially women. And don't get me started on that, because that's a lot of what I talk about recently a lot is women and how the industry in general, I mean, we are literally disposable at a certain point. It's all about anti-aging, if you notice, like everything's anti getting old. Like, and it's like, okay, why? Like, why aren't we celebrating older women? Why aren't we listening to more older women? Yeah, there's a lot to be said there.
Yeah. I was just having breakfast with my son this morning, and I was talking about wrinkles.
Yeah.
And I said, I go, you know what? I'm going to stop. Like, I don't want to use that word anymore. They're lifelines. Like, I've earned like
Totally.
every one of these like lines all on my face. Like, I've earned, sorry, guy, like
Yeah.
the HD camera does kind of blur out more of them. But yeah,
Yeah.
those
Yeah.
are
So
lines. They were earned.
100%. And that they tell a story, and that's my last song I did, True Serum. It's actually I have 417 hertz infused into that track. But True Serum's a lot about that, about woman being a woman and aging. And I actually have made a True Serum. I haven't launched it yet, but it's with natural oils that I created. I'll have to give you one. But yeah, it's for for just our lines. And it's like castor oil and frankincense and black seed oil. But yeah,
Buckthorn oil too, right? Isn't buckthorn a really great oil for the face?
I don't know. I don't know much about buckthorn. But
Yeah.
but you can put it on anything really. It's just it's just it just kind of like that was another download. It was like, why not just make our own? Because I'm a 45-year-old woman, and things, I mean, as we get older, our bodies change, our hormones change, and we don't talk about this enough. Everything changes in our bodies. So learning, and I think teaching how to, like, instead of being anti-aging, is like, let's embrace, like, let's just like be graceful about it and love it and enjoy it, and actually honor it, and honor those lines, like, rather than always trying to get rid of things, like as if there's something wrong. There's nothing wrong. It's just life.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
It is beautiful. Yeah. So, the one thing that I do love about this digital era is the social media. I've been enjoying the funny reels about perimenopause and
Oh
menopause,
yeah.
and like I mean, so I learned from one recently. I had no idea that for women, one of the signs is like having itchy ears because we stop like producing earwax around this time. And so our ears are like
Wow.
all dried out. I didn't
Interesting. I didn't know that. But I
know
did
that.
have major like ear problems. Like when I got on and off the plane this time, like my ears felt clogged. I felt really clogged. But it went away the last time, or like recently, like yesterday, like pretty quick. But going when I went to London, my ears were like like crazy. Maybe that has something to do with it. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, very, very
Yeah.
well. Yeah, because you didn't have the wax to absorb the pressurization of it. It was just
Maybe.
all nerve.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
anyway, I mean, not to make this
there's
about
so many
perimenopause,
things.
but I mean, it's so, again, it's these bodies are meant
Mhm.
to serve us, right? And
Yeah.
in response, we love them, and we have to love
That
them back and love ourselves.
Yes, and tying this into your to intuition, speaking of intuition, nothing has the changes within my body, so in the past couple years, that has dialed me more into my intuition. And they do say once you hit menopause, that's when a woman is at her most, like, if, all natural, of course, the most connected, dialed in, like spiritually, like intuitively, like sensory. Um, and I have to say that makes total sense, especially doing it like all natural the way I am, and the way a few are that I know. Uh you know because you have to be intuitive to actually listen and know how to shift your diet, to have to, you know what I'm saying, to know what's actually, to tune into, to know what's going on.
Yeah.
Without that, like, I don't know, I would be playing a guessing game and like doing all sort, you know what I mean? Like, I've shifted my whole microbiome, everything, by just listening to what I should be eating. I've changed my diet radically on a few occasions. But it's shifted all for the better, all because I was listening into my intuition. you
Yeah.
know.
The body, I always tell everybody, the body is wanting, and it does, speaking to us all day.
Yeah.
It is our bodies are master communicators.
Right.
We just have to step out of our ego, like step out
Mm-hmm.
of that monkey mind in order to.
Uh-huh. Trying to do it, trying to fix it.
Yep. I shifted my eating massively 4 months ago.
Mhm.
And um I've lost almost 20 pounds by doing so.
Yeah.
It has gotten to the point now when because I almost broke it. Just like my new thing, I'm like, oh, it was just in the moment. I'm like, I'll try this out. I mean, it's not going to kill me. And I smelled, it was a lemon poppy seed donut, which I have not had any of those. And I smelled it, and my whole body s-
Respond.
yelled no.
Yeah.
Yep.
It
And
happens. It
and I had no
happens.
issue. I didn't even tempt it. I put it down. I'm like, nope. My body just screamed at
Yeah.
me. No.
Yeah. And the thing is, you'll know, like, it's like you can almost read what it feels like in your body. Like, if you were to put it in your body, you're like, oh, that's what it would feel like. Yeah, absolutely not. Like, we're not gonna. And then your body has to restore from that. Like, once you put it in the system, it's gonna take that many more days or whatnot to kind of like restore yourself back. So
Yeah.
yeah, there's definitely a wisdom that comes with being a
Yeah.
woman and having, because you have to dial in a shift with all these changes. Like, I mean, if not, I mean, obviously there's lots of women who just get on these hormone supplements or things like that nature, and that's the quick fix, right? Just like, I guess before that was the birth control, right? That's what everybody gets. Just do this. You won't even feel your period. It's like, right. How disconnected can we be from ourselves, you know?
Yeah.
So I'm a big advocate for women to really naturally age, I think.
Absolutely. Well, and it's they're giving me like, I'm getting an image right now of every they're giving it, actually they're showing me to, like, it's like every 20 years, right? Almost every 20 years we metamorphosize, especially as women. Sorry, men, not to leave you out, but we're two women
Yeah.
here. This we
Yeah.
metamorphose almost just like a snake, right? So like a snake sheds its skin and it becomes a different version, not,
Right.
not better, but it's just different. And so we're now
Hmm.
operating within a different shell. And
Hmm.
it's honoring that. And I ask my body almost every day, what do you need?
Yep.
Lacking
Great.
right now.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm a big, yeah, it feels really good because yeah, I'm the same. It's every day. It's like, what do we need? I've been doing this, like, it's been like this for months currently, just especially coming back from London now, because now I got to shift. That was a big shift, going to another country. And it's like I don't have all my things here, necessarily. So I had to shift there. Now I'm like back. So it's like, okay, now we're back to like, okay, what do we need now? What is it? What's going to nourish us? What's most important right now?
And absolutely.
Yeah.
And sometimes, like for the past 2 days, I've been trying to like get over like the last stages of some mucus in my head, and I have no idea why. And because it's not on what I've been doing, but my body has been craving apple juice. Like it's just been
Mm,
apple juice. And when I feel into that, I'm like, there's something in that. Because I have cut out all sugar, from like all processed sugar. I've cut all of that out for 4 months. And even though I
right.
do know that a juice is higher in sugar, there's something in that. Because my body has gone in these stages
Mm,
where it craves apple juice since I was in my mid-20s. And like I'll crave it for a couple days, and then I won't want it for 9 months, 10 months, So,
yeah.
but I trust into that. Okay,
Yeah,
there's
I do.
something in this right now that my body
Yeah,
needs.
absolutely. I would go with it. 100%.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's just,
Yeah.
an example. But the another word I'm gonna bring bring in is shame. I think
Mm,
that there is a lot of shame that we can bring into our lives. And a lot of people might be like, bring shame on themselves. For instance, I should not have juice because there's sugar in that. There's a lot of sugar
yeah.
in that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I'm releasing that. One glass of juice isn't going to hurt you. You know what I mean? So like,
Yes.
bring the shame can come in and cut us off from ourselves as well.
Yes, 100%. We have to really be careful with that. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a fine line, right? I always say, like the extremes of life, right? Everything's a paradox, everything. So I think it is constantly returning to that balance, and then allowing like the give and the flow. Because sometimes, I mean, it's always going to be, even like with ascension, right? There's an ascent and a descent. That's how we keep evolving, ascent, descent. We don't just go up here and stay here. That's crazy. It's not going to happen. You could try, but something I'm sure will cause that descent at some point. So there's a flux, but yeah, like finding the balance in it and not, leaning so far that you starting to lean into shame or shaming yourself for whatever it might be.
Yeah.
If it's
So,
food, if
I mean,
it's,
within your own sound, right? So
yeah,
shame can be stored. So shame and trauma are really closely aligned within the body,
yes.
and they can come in and block energy gateways, right? So the human
Mhm.
body has these energy gateways, whether they're called meridians, we have our chakras, and meridians are the energy centers. I always imagine, like, for somebody, imagine a meridian is like when you look at a water, like those little pools that are always constantly moving. Why is it always moving? Because it makes all the rest of the water flow this way or that way. You have to have those natural pools. And so
Yeah,
our meridians are just like that. But those can be stored within the body. So I'm jumping us all the way back to sound again.
yeah, good.
How do you use sound and frequency to help move those, to help move like shame, fear, trauma that are stuck in the body? Why does it work? I mean, why would somebody want to come and do a sound bath? Because I was actually surprised. In my mind, everybody knows what sound baths are, and I recently did
Yeah.
them, and everyone who was in attendance had never heard of them. So
Um,
why why should
yeah,
somebody
so,
do a sound
well,
bath?
just that in general, when you're talking about meridians and energy centers, I mean, it's all correlates to sound, but first of all, I always say like with, just pure intent that like if you have an intent to like move something, that mixing that with the sound and the vibration is going to be your most powerful source to move any blocks, even if you're unconscious of them. Because a lot of times we're not really conscious. It takes like we coming into that awareness to even be able to kind of get in and identify it, where something is, what it might be. But
Mhm.
sound in general is a very passive way to go about like redirecting energy in your body without having to consciously do it. You know what I mean? It's nothing we have to do. We just have to open to allow. And
Mhm.
that's really the magic of it. And in essence, when you move into a sound meditation and the brain waves slow down, the body begins to slow down, we're actually dialing into our innate self-healing. We then can become more aware of things that we weren't aware of before, right? So it just opens up. It's like a space holder of that part of our consciousness, I think. So yeah, uh, sound is a beautiful way. Gongs in particular, a very beautiful way to move, redirect energy flow in the body.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's not, I think just allowing and not like forcing it, right? Like, so it's
I always say that sound is something, for sound healing, it's something that is not meant to be heard. It's
right. And the body, it's like the body's language. Like it receives a lot of time. Our mind is not anywhere in the coordinates. Like
yeah.
eventually, it might come into that coordinate. So that's the hope, right? It's to open up into that awareness. But a lot of the time we don't know exactly what's going on in those sound baths. Exactly, it's happening, and all we know is, well, we feel better. We feel
Mhm.
like more aligned. We're feeling more. You know when you feel like that after a sound experience, it's like, whoa, like something cleared.
Mhm.
And maybe it'll come to you later. Maybe it'll come to you right then. Maybe it never comes to you, but you know that something really amazing just happened for you,
Yeah.
and that's the beautiful part.
Yeah.
So.
I had one person, they in their payment link to me when they sent it to me, they the memo was ancient nap.
Yeah, and it
And
can
I
be
left
ancient. I mean,
I
who
love,
knows what you're clearing, right? You could be clearing some DNA, like something going on that like you're completely unaware of in your conscious mind, but you know,
yeah,
intuitively you might know, okay, something really deep happened. I might not be able to pinpoint exactly what it is, or maybe I can. Maybe we did get something that led us to some understanding of that.
yeah.
That can happen too.
Oh yeah.
But
Yeah,
yeah.
this person came, and what and this is what I love the most are, um I always say the goal is for you just to come and lay and honestly just fall asleep. I mean, really, that's
Yeah.
the goal, because then the body can truly do what it needs to do, because
Mhm.
you're resting. But this person came in, and they slept for the whole event. Um, and when they woke up, they insisted that they did not fall asleep at all. You're like, oh
Oh, I've
man.
had plenty of that. I've had people snore, like completely snoring, completely out, like from where I'm seeing what I'm seeing.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh yeah. I was I was in and out. It's like, wow, because you could have fooled everybody in this room right now.
I know. I
But
love
isn't it wild though? I think I've experienced that myself where I've been like, listening to something and it's like I'm in and out so much that but I'm hearing myself kind of like snore or like or heavy breathe where what things I do in my sleep. So I'm like I'm drifting, I guess, in between spaces, which definitely happens.
I my favorite is a lot of times you don't realize how much you have left
Yeah.
until the very end, when you're bringing yourselves like back into the body, back into your normal breath. When I come back in, I'm like, oh, I really was out there.
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
love that. And I want to add in, because I do gong as well, not to your extent, but one of the best things, because Arlyn, I mean, Arlyn taught me the sound, she trained me in sound healing, is they have scientifically proved what
Hmm.
gonging does in the
Yeah.
body.
Yeah.
We're talking about energy and meridians and
Yeah.
like being, but they looked under a microscope what gonging
Yeah.
can do, and what in was it just 15 minutes of gonging,
It's like
you
20 minutes, I think I
20
always say 20 minutes.
20.
About 20.
So they took everyone's blood samples prior to a gonging session, and then so they compared it before and after. So the before, they would have aspects of all the red, they were clumped up, or the
Sticky,
sticky,
which is how the meridians and the energy lines can get sticky and tacky like that. So it just gives us a nice physical representation through somatics where we can see that the cells are all sticky, clumped together,
they're not
not
perfectly round. They might be like
right,
this.
gray even. And then after the gong bath is like they're like it's like they're just floating all around, perfect circles. Yeah, just super oxygenated. And you think
Yeah.
about that, it's just you literally can feel that in your body after a lot of times, that buzzing feeling or that just clear, crystal clear feeling sometimes. And sometimes like some junk has to happen in the middle of that. I mean, I've been in experiences too. It's where you might feel irritated during the session, or you might be like, whoa, or like, why, or just going through different feelings and thoughts even that might reside or be attached to some of that energy. And then it flushes through eventually.
And
So,
going back into that intuitive space, if you
mm,
going to a sound bath, a sound healing, listening to any type of frequency, when you do feel that irritation, or you do feel going back into that intuitive state, okay, now I'm
hmm.
going to observe. I'm going to
Yep.
observe that I'm irritated. I'm not going to own irritation.
Yes.
I'm going to observe. And then I'm going to look, where in my body am I feeling irritated?
Mhm.
And then why am I feeling irritated? And then it's
Right.
just observing it. And then through that, then you can just watch it shift through.
Yeah, yeah. We learn how to, I think in sound healing, one of the things that's so profound about it is, if you make it a practice, it's something you do. It's like you self-teach yourself how to move through emotions, feelings, thoughts. So it's a practice. That's why I always say it can be a practice. Like when people come see me, I always say this is a practice. like kind of like yoga is a practice. It's like it's another form of a yogic practice when we see it like that, because we're teaching ourselves how to innately heal, to self-heal, right? To be able to self-observe. We're not asking anybody else out here for their input necessarily. We're learning how to dial into ourselves and our breath. So important of anything.
So important.
The
Yeah,
breath.
and it's an aspect of it's self-care. It's another form of self-care, just like meditation and yoga,
Yes.
or
100%.
and
Yes.
and even though, so you offer, I mean, obviously you offer privates, but you do a lot, most of your sound in large groups. And even though you can be in a room with 20, 30, 40, 50 people, 60 people,
Yeah.
it's still an individual practice, because the different frequencies are going to hit your unique body in a unique way. So
Yes.
sometimes when I'm doing toning, while I'm producing one note out of my mouth, I can feel 4 layers of different sound coming through it. And so I know that there are different people in my, like in my session, that are hearing completely different note.
Different octaves, yeah.
Different
Ooh, that's a really cool way of, like, I just had a visual as you said that, and that's a great way of seeing it. Yeah. I
Yeah.
totally get that, because it's the same thing with the instruments. Same thing when you're hearing different things come out that never, it's like, wow, this bowl's never done this before, or wow, the gong's never spoke like this. It's always different. Energy is different every day for us, for everybody. So it's constantly shifting, even instruments.
Yeah. I've
It's
had
fascinating.
so I bought, for everyone listening, I bought my beautiful wind gong from Arlyn, and I love that gong. The gong responds to my toning.
Yeah.
It will sing back at different moments, because I've tried to sing like, oh, is it just feeling the vibration just from my voice? No, like, because I've gotten really close and just hit notes expecting that, and sometimes I get
Totally different.
totally different. So it absolutely, when it feels needed, it will sing back in the middle of a toning session for the group.
It's so cool. So
Yeah,
cool.
yeah,
Yeah. And we need to do something together again.
yeah.
I would love that.
Well, thank you so much. I always
Yeah.
like to ask, what's your one piece of advice to anyone who is feeling, I mean, we talked about this, like so many people are feeling this urge, like I want to make a change in my life. I just feel like I'm unsettled, I'm awakening. What's your best piece of advice to them?
If somebody's feeling unsettled and
Yeah,
they're
like
awakening.
they know that there's a shift coming, right? They
Yeah.
know that they need to change things up, but maybe they're having those words of fear or shame, or it's not, it's past the time. What's your best advice for them?
Mhm. Oh, fear. It's just leaning in and trusting. I think getting a small practice down, like this helped me when I was going through my process. It was just little things like going on walks outside. It's the simple things, writing down journaling thoughts, like just writing things out. Sitting, like having time to just sit 5 minutes in quietness, getting in that quiet zone. I mean, I always say meditation is the key. So I really think meditation is key to life, honestly, hands down. So whatever you're doing, just finding the still space, the quiet space,
Mhm.
that's going to be it. Still space, quiet space.
And I want to add, because I'm sitting here as I'm listening to you, if anyone has been feeling the call to become a sound healer, to do what
Mhm.
you do. Now, I understand the sound world, so sitting behind you, I understand the level of investment
Yeah.
that is behind you.
Yeah.
So for the ones who are like, okay, I can't afford all of those gongs and equipment, you did not start out with all of
No.
those.
No, I was just a massage therapist. I was doing banging it out like week to week, paycheck to paycheck, like I had no extra money for anything, not even my training. And just the way it lines, this is the way our intuition or our higher self works for us, is when something is for us, whether we even really know it or not, it's following your passion. This has been my big thing lately. You're going to hear me talking about it a lot more. is really, it's the passion in life. Like, what makes your heart tick? What brings you alive? Well, what happened was when I experienced sound, it brought me alive. There was something in it, like it just thrust myself in investigating it, all the things. So what happened was I created something vortex, and I ended up, one of my clients, I was just telling her about it, and she happened to have, she's somebody who's well-to-do, has money, and she ended up blessing me with the money I needed at the time. Sometimes I find it's asking. Maybe we need to receive. Maybe we need to ask for the help. You know, um, money is it's a funny thing, but I think yeah, it's always available. It's really just our receptory. It's like we got to get into our own reception, and we're, you know, dialing into your passion. Though, when you dial into it and you come online to it, I just think that it can't escape you, regardless, whatever it is you're meant to do. It's gonna,
Oh, Arlyn, I love that. I absolutely love that. Thank you
yeah.
so much. I can't think of a
You're
better way
welcome.
to end this. Where can everyone find you? I know your calendar is getting so busy with amazing events. What's the best way
Yeah.
to see what you're up to next?
You can, my website is www.awakenspanda.com. Also you can follow my Eventbrite because I'm in a new space in the heart of Charleston right now. So I got like lots of things. Lyrical Lounge is one of them. It's free flow writing. So I'm just, yeah, I'm down in Charleston implementing all kinds of things. You're welcome to join me. You're welcome to come to train here. Actually, yeah, that if you want to come train, I'm gonna start doing trainings down at that spot downtown as well.
Amazing. Yeah,
So
I
yeah,
recommend anyone to come and do training with Arlyn. It was great. She trained me in gongs and yeah, highly
yeah,
recommend. Highly
yeah.
recommend. So thank you so much, Arlyn. I
Thank you.
really appreciate
Thank
it.
you, Abby.
All right,
Yeah.
thanks.
All right.